Good afternoon. My name is Hadang Son, and it is my pleasure to present in the first global AITAA symposiums and exhibition. Let's start with a presentation now with the title Pathway to a Carbon Neutral Power Sector, the Challenges and Opportunity for Vietnam. So we know that the power system in Vietnam consists of different types of power resources. We have hydropower, we have thermal power plants such as coal and gas, we have wind, we have solar, and we also have biomass. And in general, the renewable energy, the share of the renewable energy in Vietnam power sector is about 55%, including hydropower. Talking about the power sector, we know that no power plant is perfect with regard to the environmental aspect. For instance, with the hydropower, we have the environmental concern about reallocation, livelihoods, deforestation, ecosystem degradation, changes in the hydrological regimes. With thermal power plant, we have problem with the air pollutions due to the PM, NOx, and SOx. Specifically with the coal-fired power plant, we have to deal with the large amount of solid waste coming out from the bottom ash or the fly ash. And the main concern at the moment, given the COP26 just happened last week, climate change impact due to fossil fuels burning is the global concern at the moment. Looking at the alternative power sources, the so-called variable renewable energy like solar or wind, we still have problem with regard to the deforestation, ecosystem degradation, solid waste collection and treatment. We also have to deal with the other problems just like fines, noises, and other social environmental impacts. So again, nothing is perfect and poorly clean, but we have to select between different sources to find out what would be the best option to go, given all the pros and cons. Back to Vietnam, when you talk about the Paris Agreement, about the nationally contributed contribution commitment, we talk about GHG emission from power sector. Our analysis shows that the GHG emission from Vietnam power sector following the recent draft PDP8 is very close to hit the bar, the allowed emission quota based on the unconditional emission reduction committed by the government of Vietnam. And we know that the International Energy Agency recently presented an ambitious roadmap toward the net zero for the energy sector. And even though we deal with different subsector like power sector, building, transport, industry, and other like residential, but the key point highlighted would be like each country needs to bring a lot of wind and solar for the power sector to replace the fossil fuels. Okay, now Vietnam. If you look at the non-hydro renewable energy potential, we can see that Vietnam has good potential about solar, very good potential about the onshore wind, and given the very, very long coastal boundary of Vietnam, so Vietnam has a very, very good potential about offshore wind. And starting from like early 2000s, Vietnam already have a renewable energy action plan with the support from the World Bank. But the focus at the time is mainly about the small hydro development. And of course, with the electrification, with the grid development for Vietnam. So for many years, we didn't see much development of the new renewable energy kind of like solar or wind, mainly is small hydro, until 2015, when the government of Vietnam start to issue the renewable energy development strategy. This is brought up quite ambitious target on solar and wind at that time. And starting from that moment on, Vietnam have, with the support from many donors, has developed a lot of analysis report. For instance, you look at the Vietnam Energy Outlook that the Ministry of Industry and Trade of Vietnam has developed with the support from the Danish government, and it came up with quite ambitious target. For instance, okay, let's go in the power mix, and we have more wind, more solar, and especially with much more offshore wind. And just this year, 2021, and with the support from the World Bank, Vietnam has the first time the offshore wind roadmap for the development of the totally new type of renewable energy in the country. Looking back 5 years since the renewable energy development strategy, we can see clearly that the power mix back in 2015 is nearly nothing. A few wind and nearly no solar, but by 2020, we have a lot of rooftop solar, we have a lot of solar utility scale, and we start to look at the wind with more wind. And let's see what happened with the country after that. There are significant growth of the solar, both utility scale and the rooftop solar in the last 2 years. And with the wind, we also see magnificent development of the wind project in Vietnam, and it reached nearly 4 gigawatt of wind power plant just in the October 2021. However, variable renewable energy like wind and solar also facing problem with the balancing, the curtailment and dispatching. This is making on those type power sources not operate quite well at the moment with the power system of Vietnam. We can see that with a lot of solar, the power system has to deal with the duck curve. This is the peak during the noontime, and because of the imbalance in the non-hydro renewable energy development, with too much solar, insignificant wind and biomass recently. So the kind of like pressure on the National Dispatch Center to balance and making sure that the power system work well and reliable. And you see that the National Dispatch Center have to deal with a lot of like ramp up, ramp down with the conventional power generation from the thermal, from the hydro, just to make sure that the system can survive with more and more wind and solar in the system. Another challenge is that given that the current power development plan is just based on a mixture between the conventional fossil fuel-based generation, just like coal or gas. Now, let's look at the situation if the coal and the gas investment could not be delivered in time. And the government of Vietnam will need much more capacity of wind and solar to compensate the shortage of the generation capacity from coal and gas in that case. Another obstacle, another challenge that the renewable energy had to deal with is the shortage of the inter-regional transmission to transport the electricity generated from the renewable energy, from the wind and solar, from the areas they rich in the renewable energy potential, but it's very low in the demand, to the area where you have a lot of demand, but shortage of the resources, the renewable energy resources. So if you look at the table, you look at the situation in Vietnam, you can see that the significant penetration of low-cost distributed battery storage can be a game changer for renewable energy development in Vietnam in the near future. And about the future of the grid, especially with the smart grid, then you see that people need to change the way they look at the grid, not the traditional one. It's just one-way power system coming from the power plant to the consumer. Now it's kind of like everything is cloud and distributed and two-way power flow with more flexibility in the network. In the future, we can see clearly that given the distributed nature, the decentralization nature of the variable renewable energy like wind and solar, then the grid should be decentralized also. So we have to think about like moving from centralized directional grid to distributed energy and bidirectional energy balancing system to serve all the demand in the country. And last but not least, people keep talking about money, investment, lack of the investment, the capital and money. I just want to quote the statement from the IEA executive director. He mentioned that there's no shortage of money worldwide, but the governments need to give international public finance institution a strong strategic mandate to finance clean energy transition in the developing world. And we can see clearly that this recent effort by the government of Vietnam is quite like attractive, it's committed, and we hope that they will come with more and more investment and support coming to Vietnam in the coming years to have the development of the renewable energy in a sustainable way, more reliable power system in the country, and it will be the only way for to go for carbon neutral target that we keep talking about net zero. So it's very short, but thanks for your attention.